and welcome to another exciting episode of Can It Take a K26, the show where we take a variety of blasters and see if they can be upgraded using a K26 spring. And if not, what can they be upgraded with? I am your host, Captain Xavier, and today we're going to be finishing up two lines. We're going to be finishing up the rival curve shot line as well as the rival AccuStrike line. And we will be starting with the Nerf Curve Shot Helix XXI 2000. So named, of course, because it came out in 2001 and holds 20 rounds in this weird dual stack kind of hopper looking thing. So let's get some stock performance on this thing. To the chronograph. Really need to remember to order a new chronograph. This little one is not nearly so nice. Anyway, let's see what kind of numbers we're getting. Stock. Maybe we should prime the blaster. Drain. Really need to remember to get a new chronograph. This little one is just not nearly as much fun. All right, let's see what kind of numbers we're getting. 84, 81, 82, 83, 89. So, consistent, mid to high 80s. Let's see how accurate the curve blaster is. To the range! Right, we're here on the range. I've got the Helix. We're gonna see if I can hit anything at all at 25 feet. A little low. There it is! Come on. Could have sworn I had another round. I do. Load, you wretch. There we go. The fact that the barrel is low, I think, is throwing me off a smidge. Now, I know what you're going to ask. What about those super light rounds? Well, I brought some. We'll see what it does with our hop up with these super light rounds on the stock spring. Oh, if you've never experienced it, it's really hard to explain how ridiculous this ammo really is. It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. All right. See if we can upgrade it. Right, well, the stock performance is about what we would expect from one of these, but we want more. We want more power, we want more range, but we definitely want those super light rounds to be even more ridiculous, so we're going to see if this thing can be upgraded with a K26. Drain? Right. Well, we're in, and it doesn't seem to be terribly complicated in here, really. Looks very similar to a Chronos-style internals like we see in pretty much all rival blasters, which is comforting and familiar. Does not have slam fire, as far as I can tell. So we really just need to get to figure out how to get to the plunger. Now, right, there's our muzzle. I'm gonna need to take out the two screws holding the other side of the slide. Okay, plunger is captured. Let's see if we can get this up without breaking it. There we go. We got a decent amount of pre-compression in there, but our spring comes off easily. That's nice. That's really nice. Fascinating. Okay, well, let's get some K26, see if it will fit. It will, but we'll need to trim down the spring guide that's on the far end here. I might take a look at K25 instead, because it's a larger diameter. That would definitely fit better. And you know what? I'm gonna start with K25, despite the name of the series. And I'm gonna go with the same length. Because if I went with K26, I'd almost certainly have to go with a shorter length in order to get enough compression. And this way I don't have to muck up the spring guide there. Okay. Very nice. I'm going to keep one of the squared ends. Now we got to make sure we put this back in the right direction. The hook needs to go up. No, hook needs to go down. Okay, now we need to make sure we get this in here the right way. The longer tab goes, should be aligned with the longer tab here. Okay. Then that whole module can drop back in. Alright. We should be able to button it up. Let's see if we can get the shell to close first. Oh, almost forgot my barrel. Wouldn't want to not have my twisty muzzle. Alright, shell went back together pretty smoothly, so we're gonna button this up. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Feedback.
Yeah, okay, let's go. Right, well, it is catching and it does sound meaner, so let's see what we've done to it. Back to the chronograph. Right, we're here at the chronograph. Got 5 rounds loaded in there. Let's see how it does now. It actually will feed 122, 121, 122, 119, 108. Yeah, that's an improvement. We want 50% increase from 180 to 140 or 120. I can math. Math am hard. Go to the range, see what we've done to our accuracy. Right, we're back on the range. We've got it upgraded. Let's see what happens now. Zing! I'm being shelled by myself. Oh! 5 out of 5. Not too shabby. I like it. All right, let's try it with those super light rounds. This ought to be hilarious. Woo! Oh, let's see if I aim straight down. Oh, I've almost got the curve. Not quite. There it is! I got it! It's so ridiculous. Oh, you'd have to shoot someone and aim at their feet and get them in the chest at 25 feet. It's absurd. I dig it. All right. Back to the shop. Right, well that was a yes to K25 with excellent results. We're getting 120 FPS, and accuracy was not negatively affected, though the using the super light rounds was of course hilarious. Amazingly, I was able to recover all of the ammunition. Anyway, I am well pleased with the results. I rather like this blaster. It's big, it's beefy, it's mostly in my colors, so I appreciate all of that. The gravity-fed hopper, not a huge fan of that. I had some issues with it, you know, not feeding as reliably as a an internal magazine might, but it would make it easy to top off. If you pop it open, dump some more rounds in, close it. I understand that, so yeah, I dig it. I dig it. Let's move on to our next contestant after these messages.
All of the K26 used on this series was donated by Out of Darts. Check out his new website at outofdarts.com for all your Nerf modding needs.
Our next contestant is, of course, the Nerf AccuRival Forerunner XXIII 1200. So named, of course, because it came out in 2023 and holds 12 rounds in an internal magazine. And this one, as you can see, is brand new, still in package, ain't never been snuffed. Let's get it out and take a look. Fresh rounds. Right, so the Forerunner is very similar to the Helix in design, pistol grip, pump action, all of that. But instead of a hopper, it has your standard internal magazine like we've seen in, definitely more common in the Rival line, and very nice. They're very reliable, feed very well. Don't hold as many rounds as they could, but will deal. So let's get the stock performance of this thing and see if it's actually any different than the Helix. That train again. Alright, let's see what kind of performance this thing will give us. 80. 59, I must have clipped the wall. 72. 73. 81. So far, performance is not as good, though, again, corner ref. Let's take it to the range and see if it is, in fact, more accurate. Right, we've got the Forerunner, I think that's what it's called, and it's got Accu rounds in it, so it should be more accurate. Let's see if we can hit anything at all. A little bit. Oh, we're drifting. There we go. Not too bad. Not too bad. But it does feel a little underpowered. So let's go see what we can do to it. Right. Well, honestly, the performance is a little lackluster. So let's see what we can do to this thing. Right, well, we're in. Once again, we're seeing the same thing we've seen in most Rival blasters. It definitely looks like a Chronos in here. Even more so than the previous one even, because we have this tube on the catch, which is something we specifically see in the Chronos. The other internal tube magazine Rival blasters, so we shouldn't have any problem getting to it. I don't know how it all goes back in. Oh, that is a fascinating trigger mechanism. Interesting. It wraps around the tube. Anyway, there's our spring. Nice big main spring, but it still seemed weak, and it could have been a bad seal. Could have been a lot of things. Let's take a look at the K26. K26 will fit. So once again, we will need to trim it, and this time I'm gonna go ahead and trim down the tabs so that K26 will fit. Alright, we're gonna go with our usual. We'll go with K26, the same length as the plunger tube, or rather the plunger rod, which comes out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12-ish, maybe 13, depending on where you want to actually count from. I am going to cut off the squared end because it is just going to take up space and we don't really need it in this style of blaster. The way the catch is designed is a little bit different. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we definitely have 12 coils. And in order to put it back in, I find the easiest way is to, in fact, prime it. So we are going to put it in, and then we are going to prime it back and make sure it locks. Make sure that we are, in fact, getting enough compression. Yep, we're good. Okay. Now we're going to put it in. Figure out where everything needs to go. Alright, I believe I've got it all back in. Everything seems aligned. Our tabs are where they should be. Locking mechanisms are where they should be. Everything's catching the way it should be. Alright, got the shell back on. I had a little trouble with the trigger not being quite in the right position, but everything seems good, so we're going to button it up. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Veteran.
How does he do it? Right, well, it fits, it catches, the prime does not feel too nasty, it actually has a real nice feel to it. So let's see what kind of improvement it's made. Back to the chronograph. Train! A lot of that today. There, let's see what we've done with this with K26 in it. 109, 120, 123, 118, 122. So K26 has brought it up to the same level that we got the other one up to, but it's a larger increase because this one was hitting lower before. So that's pretty cool. That's much more what I want to see. All right, well, let's see what it's done to the accuracy. These are supposed to be accurate, but what does an extra 50 FPS do? Right, we got the K26 in this. Let's see how much zing it has and if we can still hit anything. Ooh. It was a deliberate attempt on my life. Oh, I missed. Again, being shelled. It's zippy. I like it. I like it. Let's talk about it. Right, well, that was a definite yes for K26 for the, whatever this thing is called, the Forerunner. Right, well, that was a definite yes for K26 for the Forerunner. And again, very pleased with the end performance. This is essentially a pistol grip takedown. And I like that form factor. I'm really tempted to paint this one up in my colors just because I really like that. The added prime is not bad, and actually it has a good feel to it, like I said. And it gives you that extra zip. Getting it up to 120 is, in my opinion, really kind of the goal for Rival. At 120, at close range, it's moving so fast it's basically impossible to dodge. Outdoors, Rival has never been the best at being accurate because at long range, the hop-up starts to cause drift. If the blaster is not perfectly up and down, then whichever way you have it slightly tipped, it's the hop-up's going to take it that way at longer range, and especially at higher velocities when you increase the FPS. If you don't reduce the hop-up tab or remove the hop-up tab entirely, then at any range beyond 20, 30 feet, the accuracy just goes out the window. But at 25 feet, it's traveling so fast that the hop-up really hasn't kicked in yet, and it shoots lasers, and it really have high velocity. So very, very cool. Like how that one came out. And yeah, let's recap. Right, for those of you just tuning in or who just skipped to the end to see the results, that was a yes for K25 for the Helix. I didn't actually try it with K26 for reasons. There were just things about the design and the internals and whatnot, it didn't feel like it was the right option. So I went with K25, worked beautifully, got me to 120 FPS. Not a heavy prime. I've got no worries about anything breaking, and 120 is kind of the golden spot for Rival in my opinion. So very pleased with that. You could probably get K26 in it. I have no doubt that it would work because it works in pretty much every Rival blaster. I just don't know that it would actually be any more powerful or give you any much more of an improvement. However, that was a yes for K26 for the Forerunner, and it gave the same performance. So this got up to 120 FPS as well, but it started a little lower. This one was only hitting in the 70s originally with the stock spring. K26 brought us up to 120, which again is the sweet spot. So between them, we got the same performance in the end, and they're very similar in form factor in many ways. Obviously, you know, pistol grip, pump grip. This one's a little bit bigger, bulkier, holds more ammo, but this one is, it's svelter. I definitely prefer this one for a variety of reasons, but their end performance was excellent, and I'm very pleased with it. So there you have it. Let me know what you think of this episode and what blasters you would like to see in future episodes. I think I've got some stuff lined up. I might not, so I'm definitely open to suggestions. If there's any new blasters that have come out or ones that I just never got around to in the past and you're curious, let me know. And as always, thank you guys for watching.